Good evening and welcome to another City of Titans related video. In this one, I will be exploring story arcs and mission content and going over the various terminologies and what to expect of the game's mission system once the game is to go live. So, and this is more than likely going to be a very quick video, but I'm just going to be going over just little small tidbits and what to expect of the game. So, the first thing to start off with is terminology. Now, the game is going to have a certain terminology for how missions are to be handled. The first one is an episode. An episode is just a way of referring to a mission. So, pretty self-explanatory there. Episode means mission. A series is actually a string of episodes telling a connected story. Now, this is something I actually look forward to, or at least one of the things I look forward to, because this actually has a chance of allowing for, like it says, telling a connected story through a connected string of missions. So, just to think about it, RPers, also known as role players, for people like me, can actually have missions be sort of like serve as background or even like past events that we played up to until a certain point from levels 0 to 50. Because also you should know the level cap that they're aiming for in City of Titans is to be level 50. Though I do remember reading and hearing somewhere that the level cap won't be 50 right from the get-go and when the game is to go live. Instead, it'll be level 30, I believe. And then when the rest of the content is to be finished, then you will be able to play up to level 50. But anyways, the next terminology used is saga. Now, saga is what is described as a multiple successive arcs with a reoccurring plot elements. So, again, also pretty self-explanatory. Right? I would assume that a saga is mostly referring to a series, but in other words, there's going to be what the word would be is a MacGuffin, or even several different, like it says, elements that are placed throughout the entire mission's story run. So, again, this I would assume would allow you to get the idea that there is one person who's behind the grand scheme of these missions that you're playing through. Now, what I specifically like about the mission system is that it's not going to be the same for every character you make. Like, the game is going to have dialogue boxes that your character chooses from, and each dialogue box, from what I can assume, will lead to a different outcome, thus allowing for a different playstyle and a different path. Now, don't get this confused or anything, because you can still have friends tag along with you along with these missions, as well as you both will get awarded either equal experience if you haven't played through these missions at all independently, or you'll be rewarded half if you did play through a similar mission that your friend is going through. So that's pretty cool. I also like, just like I said, it's not going to be the same string of missions you play every time you make a new character, which is pretty good. And give me a reason to actually make more alts, because one of the things that gets tiring with making alts is that you're just going to be playing through the same missions you played through already. So allowing for a bit of immersion and differency between each character you play is also going to be pretty cool as well. Now there are tips in the game. Now, tips is another terminology used, which is described as short, self-contained, one-off adventures. Now, tips aren't designed to require a special knowledge of the game's lore, as lore-focused players will still find them interesting, but these tips will be repeatable missions. So, pretty much, these are, as I said, self-contained, one-off missions. In a sense, I guess you can almost even say these are taking place at a separate point in time and have no real connective purpose to episodes, series, or sagas. So, again, they're one-offs, they take place at a different point in time, or if you really want to go for it, just say it's not even in continuity, it's just more like a filler mission to keep you busy. Now, there are going to be paths. Now, this is actually going to be the fun part of City of Titans, in my opinion. Now, if you guys have really noticed, the game is called City of Titans, but it doesn't say you specifically play as a hero or a villain. That's where we get introduced to what is known as the alignment system. Now, the alignment system to make things easier in explanation, you will be able to basically play whatever kind of person you want to be. Hero, anti-hero, villain, anti-villain, or anything that's in between the two. However, the game's developers have used these terminologies just to make things, for explanation purposes, a lot easier. Though, I do believe they said there isn't a real hero-villain faction, more or less, because they still want players to have their own sense of morality and actually developing a character for their characters, which I think is pretty cool nonetheless. But paths are described as game-spanning sagas with elaborate stories that let you explore and define your character while meeting and battling a variety of highly detailed NPCs. Paths are personal stories. There's personal stories that you can go through, such as Street Hero, Gang Lord, or Adventurer. We don't have, and the developers have also spoken on that they don't have one big overarching mega plot. Something similar to this would be what DC Universe Online has, where the main plot is Brainiac kills all the future heroes in the DC universe, but future Lex Luthor comes back to the present day with some of Brainiac's technology known as exobytes. He unleashes these exobytes upon the Earth, and they create a new generation of heroes and villains. Now, because of that alone, it's hard to be unique and different because your origin story is given to you. You are a normal person who gets their powers through these exobytes that hold the powers of future deceased heroes, and now you have their abilities. City of Titans doesn't have that. In fact, the lore even explains it as heroes in the City of Titans universe have always been there, meaning there isn't a big cosmic story arc or anything detailing how it was Homo sapiens came into possessing superpowers and how this led into the creation of heroes and villains and so on. Instead, it's just more like they've always existed. Hell, even political or even celebrity figures probably possess superpowers as well. So, again, there's no big story arc for how that came to be. It's just something that happened. It's here. Now we just live with it. So yes, there's no big mega plot that gives you your origin or explains what it is all these heroes are working towards. And I love this because it again allows you to exist on your own. You aren't forcefully given some origin that you have to roll along with because yeah, there's a giant cosmic threat aiming to destroy the Earth or something. So yep, now that's why my hero's fighting crime. But it's like, but then we hit those halts in the gameplay where it's like, oh, we have a seasonal event where there's some crazy stuff going on during Christmas or Halloween. And it's like, but hey, what about the dude who's trying to blow up the Earth or something? So yes, I love that they're not doing this. And so they also go into detail saying instead they have story arcs, as mentioned before, that go from level 0 all the way to 50, and you can flip between them as you progress. So again, explanatory. You can switch between the missions how freely as you want to, and there will be 4 paths available at launch. These ones being known as Hero North and Villain North, Hero South and Villain South, which is more or less a polarity system, I like to call it, which is where Hero North and Villain North, or Hero and Villain North, take place in Northern Titan City. Now, this is where, from what I remember, is being described as the more Silver Age kind of thing. Something you would see in, like, I believe the Silver Age was around the 70s to 80s, right? I think so. Probably. But this is basically your classic comic book type of path system right here. So you're just running into a bunch of supervillains, maybe who they're trying to threaten to take over the world or destroy the city or something. Your hero comes in, saves the day. And again, despite it being called Hero North and Villain North, that doesn't specifically mean you're playing as a hero or villain. This alignment system will allow for you to freely break or walk in between these boundaries. So don't get thrown off by that. If you're the type of person who doesn't want to play as a straight up hero or villain, there will be options for you to play in between those guidelines, or not by them at all. So, and then there's Hero and Villain South. which is basically the opposite of North, and where everything's a little bit more darker and grimmer. There's a lot more bleak outlook on life, and there's a sense of almost hopelessness for the districts and areas where these two path systems exist in. And then there are what are known as district stories. District stories are series that focus on the lore related to a particular part of the city, and usually features prominent NPCs, special gameplay mechanics, and or both. So, example would be downtown. So, you start doing a string of missions in the downtown district. So, chances are you're going to stumble upon lore relating to downtown, what it has experienced since the start of the game, and how has it shaped it into where it is today. So, again, district stories I think will probably be really interesting as well, especially if you're the type of person who likes to play the Daredevil type character, where Daredevil is confined to Hell's Kitchen in New York City. You can have your own character who's confined to a specific district in Titan City, and in turn you start finding out a little bit about the lore, and your character almost becomes an expert at what it is that they are about the area that they're living or operating in. I should also note that there are plans for what is known as a journal system, which will track the missions players have done, but it's yet to be determined if this will be available at launch. Now, many missions actually will be instanced, meaning that they will take place on their own separate map from the game's larger map. And instances will have a distinctive feel and will have multiple entrances. And there are explanations and examples of multiple entrances, such as maybe you enter in through a window or a door, to make it a little bit cinematic and gives your character more of a reason to feel a little bit more heroic and or villainous or something in between. What else is there? Maps will may procedurally. Oh god, I hate when I can't pronounce this word. But they will be generated to have an element of randomness, and they will have a realistic and practical layout, and will include environment effects and dynamic elements, which is basically a way of saying that it's not gonna feel very like everything was just thrown together random. Well, okay, it's not gonna feel like everything got thrown together just for the sake of, okay, we got to get this map finished and done with. No, everything is going to look pretty, again, because this game is again using the Unreal Engine 4, and from what I've seen of it, using with their sunlight effects, which looks crazy real, I must say that I do believe them when they say they will have a realistic and practical layout, because the game looks absolutely stunning. If you've seen one of my previous videos regarding there's Missing Worlds Media's Instagram and their screenshots for the game, yeah, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The game looks absolutely real, which, by the way, not to keep plugging this everywhere in the video, be sure to check out their Instagram, because again, they just made this, and I have the feeling that this is not for a matter of convenience. I think in the next coming months we are to see a lot more screenshots coming from the team in due time, so be on the lookout for those. Oh, also, players will actually have the ability to design their own missions as well. So, yeah, I think that's also another thing to look forward to. Whether that will be available at launch, however, I am not sure, but we'll see. Some significant missions will end with newspaper headlines or radio broadcasts to commemorate the event. Again, now this is just a way of saying, like, your character completes a mission, this gets marked down in, I wouldn't say Titan City history, but this would get marked down as a big thing that your character did. Okay, they stopped maybe like a drug deal or something, and it got printed in the newspaper. This is kind of a way for your character to gain a little bit more notoriety. Now, if you're going, and depending on the path system you choose to go with in City of Titans, this may be different for you, or this may not be different. But again, this is something to be expecting, because again, like it says, significant missions will end with these newspaper headlines or broadcasts. So, yes, there's that. The tutorial mission. The tutorial mission, they've actually gone into a lot of depth in describing and giving a lot more information on. So, the tutorial mission is set in Titan's First Bank in the aftermath of a heist. Now, a witness describes the event, giving players the opportunity to describe your character's appearance, powers, roles, choices, and choices in the heist. So, if I'm not mistaken, and from what is being written here, or what was written off my notes, excuse me, this is going to be delivered in a sense of almost as if it were a flashback. So think of it as you start up the game, you load in, you get through all the cutscenes and everything, and you just have an NPC that's running up to an officer just describing the events. And it's kind of going to be delivered in the sense of a flashback almost, where, okay, then the witness or witnesses are going to be describing the events to the officer. They're going to describe what your character looked like. This goes into the character creation, you picking your powers. What is the archetype / role or anything you play as, especially if you are a hero or villain or anything in between. And then that's when you play through the mission. And again, it's a basic bank heist mission. You just go and beat up the bad guys. However, you will be provided options on what you choose to do. Are you going to help the bad guys in getting the money that they're trying to steal, or are you going to be the hero and stop them? And then when the mission's done, how are you going to go about doing this? Are you going to go through the front door of Titan's First Bank and reveal yourself as a hero, or are you going to go the more sneaky sleuth kind of way and go out through a window and leave before the cops even get there or even catch a glimpse of you? So again, that's going to be pretty cool as well. This allows for a different approach and allows for, again, a lot more immersion. Not everyone wants to play a cookie cutter superhero or villain. So again, having options and even things like the tutorial mission is a great idea. So a couple other things to harp on here is perhaps the lead system. Now, the lead system is described as leads will consist of one element of a story, such as a setting, antagonist, or objective. Leads can be acquired through normal gameplay and other activities, such as emotes or logging off in certain missions, and then assembled to create a custom mission. This will be similar to newspaper radio missions in City of Heroes. However, mission crafting is not expected for launch. Okay, so what I mentioned earlier about making your own missions is not expected for launch. Leads can also be connected to your story path, or lead to something else. So again, this is probably going to be something even more cool. So as you can get from its namesake, the lead system is basically your character operating off of a quote-unquote lead, whether it be something of a element of a story, an antagonist or an objective or anything. And by your character choosing to investigate, they are stepping into something that's probably going to be going way bigger and deeper than what it may actually seem to be. So again, I think that's going to be pretty interesting as well, and I wanted to see how that's executed, because one of the things I get tired of doing is just, like helping, like it kind of reminds me of the days of playing a couple of different Spider-Man games, where you would just go about swinging through the city. You hear that cry for help, you choose to investigate, you beat up a couple of thugs here and there. And I feel like City of Titans is going to be going for a similar way, where your character is going to be free roaming through this massive city, and then you're going to find out that, oh, there's something going on here, let me go to stop it. And what do you know? It turns out this is taking you deeper than it actually is. So again, and me as someone who enjoys stories, especially superhero ones at that, I think this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with. But I think that's about it in regards of the story arcs and mission content. If I left anything out that you wish to get a little bit more information on, please, I can gladly answer any questions you may have in the comments, or any concerns you may have. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. You can also reach me, even if you find this at all. I've left my City of Titans profile on my videos about page, I think it is, right? You can choose to contact me there by sending a private message, or again leaving a comment or something in between, something that just lets you know you watched the video, or even what do you think of the feedback. I'm still, again, trying to get used to all this. I would like any sort of constructive criticisms that you may have, ways I can probably improve my videos, because I know this is going to be my 6th video I've uploaded, and I've been uploading throughout the entire week. So again, I think this is going to be the end of it. I may have more content up later today. I'll see you all later, if not tomorrow. And remember, Titans, to answer the call.